Elevated states of consciousness. Increase access to realities, just vibrate. Have you ever had that strange feeling that there's something more beyond what your eyes can see? That deep intuition that reality is far more vast and complex than what we perceive in our daily lives? If so, you're not alone. Throughout human history, mystics, sages, and now even scientists have been exploring the extraordinary elevated states of consciousness, gateways that allow us to access dimensions of reality that normally remain invisible. Imagine for a moment, what if I told you that your mind possesses the natural ability to tune into higher frequencies of existence, just like a radio can tune into different stations? What if through deep meditation, genuine prayer, and extreme presence, you could literally reconfigure your perception to access realities beyond your everyday experience? In this video, we'll reveal how elevated states of consciousness aren't just subjective experiences, but genuine tools for exploring reality. We'll dive into the fascinating science behind these experiences, share ancient techniques now validated by modern neuroscience, and show you how you can, starting today, expand the boundaries of your own consciousness. Get ready for a transformative journey that might fundamentally change your understanding of what it means to be alive and conscious in this multidimensional universe. The reality beyond our senses. Most of us navigate through life, believing that what we perceive with our five senses constitutes the entirety of reality. We see objects, hear sounds, taste flavors, feel textures, and smell aromas, and we assume that's all there is. But science tells us a different story. Consider this. The human eye detects only about 0.0035% of the electromagnetic spectrum. Think about that for a moment. We're literally blind to 99.9965% of the light that exists. Our ears can only detect frequencies between 20 Hz and 20,000 Hz, missing entire ranges of sound that other creatures can perceive. Every sense we possess has similar limitations, evolutionary compromises designed for survival rather than complete perception. These limitations create what neuroscientists call our reality tunnel, a tiny filtered version of the universe that our brain constructs. As philosopher Alan Watts once said, "We do not come into this world, we come out of it, as leaves from a tree." We are not separate observers of reality, we are expressions of it, yet our ordinary consciousness only gives us access to a sliver of its totality. The implications are profound. If our ordinary consciousness provides such a limited view, then altered states of consciousness might offer access to aspects of reality that normally remain hidden. This isn't just speculation, it's increasingly supported by research in neuroscience, quantum physics, and consciousness studies. The science of consciousness expansion. When we enter elevated states of consciousness, remarkable changes occur in our brains. During deep meditation, EEG studies show a significant increase in alpha and theta brainwaves, patterns associated with deep relaxation, creativity, and intuitive insights. More interestingly, advanced meditators demonstrate coherence between different regions of the brain that normally don't communicate directly. Dr. Andrew Newberg, a neuroscientist who studies the brain activity of people in deep meditative and prayer states, has found that certain brain regions become both more active and less active in specific patterns. The prefrontal cortex, responsible for attention and focus, lights up, while the parietal lobe, which processes sensory information and creates our sense of physical boundaries, becomes quieter. This neurological shift literally changes how we perceive ourselves in relation to the world. What's fascinating is how these brain changes correlate with subjective experiences. Participants consistently report a dissolution of boundaries between self and other, access to intuitive knowledge that seems to download into consciousness, and a sense of connecting with something vastly larger than themselves. These aren't just pleasant fantasies. They represent a genuine shift in information processing and perception. The default mode network, DMN, a set of brain regions active when we're lost in thought, worrying, or ruminating, shows decreased activity during these states. Neuroscientist Robin Carhart-Harris describes this as taking the brakes off the brain, allowing new neural connections and perspectives to emerge. This explains why these states can be so transformative. They literally repattern the brain. Vibrational fields and consciousness. The concept that consciousness operates on different frequencies isn't just metaphorical. It has roots in quantum field theory. All matter, at its most fundamental level, consists of vibrating energy fields. Your body, though it appears solid, is actually a complex arrangement of atoms vibrating at specific frequencies. These vibrations aren't random. The pioneering work of biophysicist Fritz Albert Popp demonstrated that living cells emit coherent light called biophotons. These emissions appear to be involved in cell-to-cell communication and regulation of biological processes. More remarkably, research suggests these fields extend beyond the physical body and can be influenced by conscious intention. HeartMath Institute researchers have shown that the heart generates a powerful electromagnetic field that extends several feet from the body. This field changes dramatically based on emotional states. Negative emotions like frustration create erratic patterns, while positive states like appreciation create coherent, harmonious patterns. These fields interact with other biological systems around us in ways we're just beginning to understand. When we enter elevated states of consciousness through meditation, prayer, or extreme presence, we appear to shift the vibrational signature of our biofield. This shift may allow us to resonate with and perceive aspects of reality that vibrate at frequencies normally outside our awareness. It's similar to tuning a radio. By changing the frequency of your receiver, you can pick up stations that were always broadcasting but previously inaudible. This resonance principle explains why indigenous cultures worldwide developed practices to alter consciousness. They discovered that these states provided access to information and healing unavailable in ordinary awareness. Modern clinical research on psychedelics, which temporarily induce similar states, validates this ancient wisdom, showing that these experiences often yield insights participants describe as more real than everyday reality. Ancient wisdom, modern validation. Across cultures and throughout history, humans have developed sophisticated techniques for accessing elevated states of consciousness. These weren't random explorations, but carefully developed technologies of transcendence. Buddhist meditation practices like Vipassana and jhana training were designed as systematic methods to refine awareness. The Tibetan tradition of Dzogchen aims at recognizing the nature of mind, a state of pristine awareness beyond ordinary thought. These weren't considered spiritual luxuries but essential practices for perceiving reality more clearly. Indigenous shamanic traditions worldwide used rhythmic drumming, dance, fasting, and sometimes plant medicines to access non-ordinary states where they could perceive energetic aspects of reality and retrieve information for healing. The consistency of their reports across unconnected cultures suggests they were accessing something real, rather than culturally determined hallucinations. What's remarkable is how modern research is validating these ancient approaches. Johns Hopkins University's studies on psilocybin-induced mystical experiences show they produce measurable increases in openness, connection to nature, and reduced fear of death that persist months and years after the experience. The majority of participants rank these among the most meaningful experiences of their lives, comparable to the birth of a child or death of a parent. Similarly, research on long-term meditators shows structural brain changes that correlate with enhanced perception, emotional regulation, and cognitive function. A 2018 study at the University of Wisconsin found that expert meditators showed measurably different brain responses to pain, processing the sensations without the suffering normally attached to them. This convergence of ancient wisdom and scientific validation suggests we're not dealing with mere subjective experiences, but genuine shifts in consciousness that allow access to broader aspects of reality. As Harvard psychiatrist John Mack noted after studying thousands of extraordinary experiences, the main problem with accepting these experiences as real is not the evidence, but the worldview they challenge. Techniques for accessing higher frequencies. One of the most accessible and scientifically validated methods for shifting consciousness is breath-focused meditation. By directing attention to the natural rhythm of the breath, we calm the sympathetic nervous system, fight or flight response, and activate the parasympathetic system, rest and digest. This physiological shift creates the conditions for expanded awareness. The key is consistency. Research shows that even 10-15 minutes daily for 8 weeks produces measurable brain changes. However, The most profound effects come from longer practice. Many traditions suggest that after about 20 minutes, consciousness begins to shift more dramatically as the thinking mind settles and deeper awareness emerges. Another powerful approach is heart-centered meditation or prayer. Rather than focusing on thoughts, this practice involves cultivating feelings of love, gratitude, or devotion. The HeartMath Institute has demonstrated that this creates a state of coherence, where the heart rhythm, respiratory system, and brain waves synchronize. This coherent state appears to enhance our sensitivity to subtle information fields around us. Extreme presence, the complete immersion in the present moment without mental commentary, represents another gateway. Whether achieved through mindfulness practices, intense physical activities, or profound aesthetic experiences, this state suspends the usual filters of perception. Musicians call it being in the zone, athletes refer to it as the flow state, and spiritual traditions name it satori or samadhi. In these moments, our usual sense of separation dissolves, and we access a more unified field of awareness. For those seeking more intensive approaches, retreat settings offer powerful opportunities for consciousness expansion. Extended periods of silence, meditation, fasting, or time in nature create the conditions for profound shifts. Neuroscience explains this through neuroplasticity, our brain's ability to reorganize itself through sustained experience. When we spend days or weeks in altered states, new neural pathways form, potentially allowing permanent access to expanded perception. The transformative impact on everyday life. The most compelling aspect of elevated consciousness states is not the experiences themselves, but how they transform ordinary life. Research participants consistently report lasting changes in their values, perspectives, and behaviors, not just pleasant memories of unusual states. Many describe a profound shift in identity, moving from seeing themselves as isolated individuals to experiencing interconnection with all life. This is not just a philosophical position, but a lived reality that changes how they interact with others and the natural world. Studies show increased empathy, compassion, and pro-environmental behaviors following these experiences. Cognitive flexibility also increases dramatically. People become less rigid in their thinking, more open to new information, and better able to see multiple perspectives simultaneously. This mental agility translates into enhanced creativity, problem-solving ability, and resilience in the face of life's challenges. Perhaps most significantly, regular access to these states appears to reduce existential fear. When we experience consciousness as potentially extending beyond the physical body, our relationship with mortality shifts. Research on terminal patients given psychedelic therapy shows remarkable reductions in anxiety and depression as they access transpersonal awareness that puts their individual life in broader context. The practical implications extend into every area of life. Relationships improve as we perceive others not just as separate entities, but as expressions of the same consciousness we experience. Work becomes more meaningful when approached from expanded awareness rather than ego-driven ambition. Health often improves as the mind-body connection is enhanced, and stress patterns that cause disease are interrupted. What makes these transformations significant is that they appear to be based not on wishful thinking, but on direct perception of aspects of reality normally filtered out. As one study participant put it, "I didn't gain a new belief system. I lost the limitations that were preventing me from seeing what was always there." Practical takeaways. 5 practices to expand your consciousness today. If you're inspired to explore elevated states of consciousness for yourself, here are 5 practical approaches you can begin implementing immediately. First, establish a daily meditation practice focused on open awareness. Start with just 10 minutes each morning of sitting quietly and observing your breath. When thoughts arise, simply notice them without judgment and return attention to your breath. Gradually extend this time to 20 to 30 minutes. The key is not to force a particular state, but to create space for your awareness to naturally expand beyond its usual boundaries. Second, implement regular pattern interrupts throughout your day. Set an hourly reminder on your phone. When it sounds, pause whatever you're doing and take 3 conscious breaths, fully feeling the sensations in your body. This simple practice breaks the trance of automatic living and creates moments of heightened presence that can open doorways to expanded perception. Third, cultivate heart coherence through gratitude practice. Spend 5 minutes each evening placing your hand over your heart and recalling in vivid detail 3 experiences from your day that evoke genuine appreciation. Feel the warmth of gratitude spreading throughout your body. This practice shifts your nervous system into a coherent state that enhances receptivity to subtle, energetic information. Fourth, spend extended time in natural settings without technology. Nature provides ideal conditions for consciousness expansion as it simultaneously calms the nervous system and stimulates our innate biophilia, love of living systems. Aim for at least 1 hour weekly of undistracted immersion in natural environments, whether forest, ocean, desert, or mountain landscapes. Finally, engage in conversation as meditation by practicing deep listening. In your next conversation, challenge yourself to be completely present with the other person without planning your response while they speak. Notice how this quality of attention not only transforms the interaction, but also shifts your own state of consciousness, often revealing insights and connections previously unavailable. We stand at a fascinating crossroads in human history. Ancient wisdom traditions have always claimed that our ordinary consciousness represents just a narrow band of possible awareness, and now science is beginning to validate this understanding. What mystics described through metaphor, neuroscientists can now observe through brain imaging. What shamans accessed through ritual, researchers can now induce in laboratory settings. The implications are revolutionary. If elevated states of consciousness genuinely provide access to broader aspects of reality, then developing these capacities isn't just a spiritual luxury, but an evolutionary imperative. In a world facing unprecedented challenges, we need expanded awareness to see solutions beyond the limitations of our current thinking. Your consciousness is not merely a passive observer of reality, it's an active participant in it. By developing your capacity for elevated states, you're not just enriching your subjective experience, you're literally expanding what aspects of reality you can perceive and interact with. This journey of consciousness expansion may be the most important exploration of your life. What aspects of reality might be waiting just beyond the threshold of your current perception? What wisdom might become available as you refine your awareness? I invite you to find out for yourself through the practices we've explored today. Share your experiences in the comments below, and if you found this exploration valuable, please like this video and subscribe to our channel for more insights into the extraordinary capacities of human consciousness. Until next time, remember, the greatest frontiers of discovery aren't in distant galaxies or subatomic particles, but in the vast, largely unexplored territory of your own consciousness. The information presented on this channel is for informational and educational purposes only and does not replace professional medical advice, diagnosis, or treatment. Always consult a doctor or a qualified healthcare professional for any concerns about your health. If you are experiencing health issues, seek medical assistance immediately. Never ignore symptoms or delay seeking medical care based on information found online. Taking care of your health is essential. Schedule regular checkups with your doctor and follow medical advice tailored to your condition.